In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the alternator on your Ford Focus. This will be located on the back of the engine on the right side. Let's get started. Using a 10mm socket, loosen the top nut. Pull the pole out and lift the bracket up. Remove the plastic shield. Remove the bracket. Using a 10mm socket, loosen the negative terminal. Pull the negative terminal off, put it to the side. Using a 10mm socket, remove the bolt for the coolant reservoir. Remove the bolt. Pull the plastic lines out of the clip. There's a clip in the back holding the coolant reservoir. We're going to use a flat blade screwdriver. Get behind this tab. Pop it up and slide the reservoir over to the side. Using a trim tool, we're going to pop the two clips for this heat shield. One right here, and there's one on the other side. Pop both of the clips and remove the heat shield. Using a 19mm socket, remove the 4 lug nuts. Remove the wheel. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts for the splash shield. There's one more right behind it. Remove the bolt and remove the splash shield. Using a 15mm socket, we're going to get on the tensioner pulley. Pull the tension off of the pulley and remove the belt. Remove the belt. Let the tensioner slide back. Using a 15mm socket, remove the nut from the stud. Pull the harness off of the stud. Pull the boot back. Under that, you'll find a 10mm nut. Remove the nut. Pull the cable off of the alternator. I'm going to push that to the side. Using an E8 socket, we're going to remove the stud. Remove the stud. Using a right angle pick, we're going to pull this air duct off the alternator. Get on the tab and remove the duct piece. Remove the connector for the alternator. I'm going to use a flat blade screwdriver and get under the tab, pop the tab up, pull straight back on the connector. This is the tab that I was putting my screwdriver under to unlock it, and I'm pulling straight back. Using a 15mm socket, remove the nut. Since we're going to be removing the stud, I'm not going to fully remove the nut, just loosen it off of the alternator. Using the E8 bit, we're going to remove the stud. Remove the stud. Using a 13mm socket, remove the last bolt for the alternator. As you're removing this bolt, the alternator is going to want to fall. Before you fully remove it, be sure you have a hand on the alternator. Remove the bolt and pull the alternator down. Remove the 13mm bolt for the engine mount. Have an assistant push forward on the engine as you pull the alternator out of place. Remove the alternator. Have an assistant push the engine forward as you install the alternator. Install the alternator into the vehicle. Go ahead and go down. Yep. Push the alternator up into place. Get the bolt started through the alternator and get it started into the back of the engine. Get the stud started as well. Snug down the stud. Get the stud nice and snug. Using a 13mm socket, snug down the bolt. Install the bolt for the engine mount. Get it started by hand. Snug it down. Torque it to 35 foot-pounds. Install the cable onto the stud. Install the nut. Snug it down. Install the stud through the harness bracket. Get the stud started into the back of the engine by hand. Snug the stud down. Go until you feel it bottom out. Torque the stud to 18 foot-pounds. You can't get a torque wrench on it, do the best you can. Install the nut. Torque the nut to 35 foot-pounds. Torque the stud to 18 foot-pounds. Snug down the nut. Torque the nut to 35 foot-pounds. Torque the bolt to 35 foot-pounds. Install the connector for the alternator. Push until you hear a click. If you don't, give it a pull, make sure it's locked on. Install the air cowl. Push until you hear a click. If you don't, give it a pull. Install the air cowl piece. Be sure it snaps into place. Torque the 10mm nut to 71 inch-pounds. Pull the rubber piece back over. Install the heat shield. Install the pins. Install the belt down into the car. I'm going to put it around the power steering pulley. Get it started there. I'm also going to try and work it around the AC. Pull the belt over. Put it around the smooth idler tensioner. Get it up and around the alternator. Get it down around the tensioner. Push it up towards the water pump. Get it around the water pump pulley. Pull it back. Get it around the condenser. Make sure the belt is sitting correctly in all of the pulleys. Release the tension on the tensioner. As you do this, pull the belt around the crankshaft. Install the belt. Be sure it's riding on the ribbed pulleys. Be sure it's sitting correctly on the flat pulleys. Install the splash shield. Get the bolt started. Snug them down. Install the wheel. Install the lug nuts. Get them started by hand. Snug the nuts down. Torque the lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Install the coolant tank. Be sure in the back that it sits down on the tab. Get the bolt started in the front. Snug it down. Install the plastic lines into the clip. Install the negative battery terminal. Snug it down. Install the cover. Install the bracket. Pull the pull out. Install it into the bracket and snug the nut down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.